Greetings, adventurers. The Daggerheart playtest is available. Free download. I'll put a link in the description and all that. Daggerheart is the new role-playing game from Matt Mercer and his Critical Role company. And we have... Yeah. It's... Overall, I mean, it's okay. It has a few good things in it, but overall, while it's not horrible, I mean, because I've seen worse. I'm just not into it. So, let's get into it a little bit here. Introduction. What is a tabletop role-playing game? Bleh. What kind of role-playing game is Daggerheart? It is a heroic, narrative-focused experience with combat as a prominent aspect of play. Okay, they put the primary as narrative-focused, and then combat is kind of secondary, but it's still there. Okay. Facilitating emotionally engaging, player-driven campaigns that are punctuated by exciting battles and harrowing challenges. The game takes a more rules-light approach in its design, encouraging players and GMs to focus on the story they're telling rather than the complexity of the mechanics. It asks them to act in good faith with one another to tell the best story they can, and looks to provide structure when it's unclear how things might resolve within that story. The system has a free-flowing approach to combat with avoiding stopping down the game into rounds. Yes, they don't measure combat in rounds. It's just kind of, well, you go whenever you go. It doesn't rely on grid-based movement for the maps and minis. Okay, so there's going to be little vagaries because they're just describing it in a story. Like when you pick up a book and you thumb it open and they don't say exactly how many feet away Conan is from the giant snake. It's near, and it strikes at him. Okay, well, use your imagination. Of the game. The most important rule is you make the game your own. Must make the game your own. Good for you. Player principles. Be a fan of your character and their journey. Spotlight your allies. Yada yada. Skipping. You're going to need a set of dice. D4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20. For most of the stuff you're going to do, you're going to take 2D, I believe 12? Yes, I believe you're going to take 2d12. Different colored. Okay, one to represent hope, one to represent fear. You need to roll above a certain threshold to succeed at an action. If you fail at the action, because both of those numbers are low, you fail. If you succeed, and the higher number is the hope die, then you succeed with a little hope point, and you can spend hope points on beneficial stuff. If you succeed, but you do it with the higher die being the fear die, then a little fear point is noted in the DM's notes, and then they get to use stuff against you. Things get to happen on their side of the table. You'll need character tokens to represent the look and feel of your character. Gather about 7 tokens per player. Some players may require more or less. This is going to come in a boxed set with a bunch of stuff in it, right? And you're probably going to want some Ziploc bags to keep all your little pieces. Game cards. You will have cards that come with the core set. Ancestry cards. So every species, and there's I believe 18 of them, has their own cards, and probably multiple for each, because heaven forbid 2 different people want to play humans. Community cards, which, oh my gosh, that sounds like community chest cards in Monopoly, but no, it's actually background. In D&D terms, you have your race and your background. Well, here's your community. You're from the sea. Okay, the coastal guys get the seaborn card. Okay, the mountain guys get the mountain-born card. Here, take that card. Foundation and domain cards, as well as an action tracker and X card. Okay, lots of cards involved. Character sheets and notes, the reference pending section. Yeah, because this is a living document in that it's just alpha/beta test. We also recommend paper and writing utensils to keep notes. Yeah, duh. But okay. Optional maps and miniatures. Those are optional. Your little representation of your dude, that's just so everybody knows what they look like and they're describing who they're talking to. Not grid-based movement, and this particular one is 30 feet away from that one. Fine. A table for all. Lines and veils. X cards. Open door policy. Sure. 18 different races. Multiple classes. Good. Each class has a couple of subclasses. So you pick your class. You also have to pick your subclass. I wish they didn't do this. The use of subclasses slows down character creation. And second edition, I think, did subclasses best. They called them kits, and they made them optional. And in order to have your subclass, you had to get a benefit, but it came with a hindrance, so they were balanced out against the people that decided not to even use that system. Okay? The use of subclasses should be optional. They're not in 5e. They're not in this. Choose your heritage / ancestry / background. Got it. Assign character traits. Agility, strength, finesse, instinct, presence, knowledge. So 6 attribute scores. Sounds familiar. The verbs after each trait are examples of actions you might take that would involve that trait. Did you know that strength involves lifting, smashing, and grappling things, but agility is sprinting, leaping, and maneuvering? Well, if you didn't, there you go. Hope and fear, I explained that with the 2d12s. Starting items, you just get a bunch of stuff. You get a handful of gold. Gold is not measured by the coin, but by the handful, the bagful, the hoard, and the buttload. Okay, that last one's not quite right. But it's just vague amounts, not numeric specifics of, oh, I have a handful of gold, so I'll just throw a coin to the beggar. Okay, how many do you have left? Oh, a handful of gold. Okay, because it's all for the narrative, not for the knowing exactly how much of anything you have. Yeah, a lot more narrative descriptions of your characters. Your character sheet. Active weapons. You have 1 active weapon, 1 secondary weapon, 1 active armor, and some inventory. Whatever. But here's something they actually do that it's interesting. So, at first level, you pick your class and your subclass. You get certain abilities with those. As you gain levels 2 through 4, when you level up, record it on your character sheet. Then choose 2 available options from the list below and mark them. And there's a fair handful of things you can take. Okay? The list for levels 2 through 4, you're not going to have them all. But you could pick 1, 2, 3 of one thing. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 other things that you can't get multiples of. So we're looking at 7, 3, 10 boxes to check off. And you'll get 6 check marks. At level 5 through 7, there's another list, and it gives you more options. It's just pick 2 of the following 10 abilities at level 5, at level 6, and at level 7. Same thing for levels 8 through 10. They only go up to level 10, but who knows when this thing is finally done, how many levels they're going to totally have. I think that's kind of interesting, really, though. You know, it's... Those lists vary by level, and they vary by class. And if you don't pick what you want at level 2, you can take it at level 3. And if you don't take it by level 3 or 4, it might not be in the level 5 list. Okay. I actually don't mind that. I actually don't mind that at all. Using a domain card, a loadout. You can have a maximum of 5 domain cards active at any time. So you're playing cards at the same time you're playing with your character sheet and your dice, and you got a whole lot of things going on. Some domain cards have an exhaustion limit, which restrict how often you can use them, such as once per short rest. Yes, they have long and short rests, just like D&D, or 5e does. Okay. Interesting note, if you are interrupted during a long rest, you must make a difficulty 12 Constitution, I believe, check. Or am I thinking of some other game? I think if you're interrupted in a long rest, it's either Shadowrun, I mean, it's either Shadow Dark or this one, but if you're interrupted in a long rest, you have to make a con check or you get no benefits of having rested. I suspect that might be Shadow Dark, so never mind. Okay. Galapa, as in Galapagos anthropomorphic turtles, like the turtle. Okay, I get that one. Most of them giant. Goblin. Halfling. Halfling. Oh, halflings are lucky. Big surprise. Qatari. They're cats. They're tabaxi. I mean, a lot of these are kind of the animal people from 5e. Where were we? 175. Let's look at page 175. As you get past the player thing of how to make this convoluted character, which with the cards and the dice and the more cards and the other type of cards, you know, the DM thing, he has a lot of Matt Mercer style DM advice. Ask a question and build on the answer. Make an NPC act in accordance with their motive. Lean on the character's goals to drive them to action. Signal an imminent off-screen threat. Okay, off-screen. They're using, of course, actor terminology. Make a move the characters don't see. Split up the group. Show the cost of collateral damage. Yada yada. Yeah, let's see. Page 203. I've taken a few notes here. Okay. Session 0. Session 0s are a thing where before anybody even thinks of creating a character or heaven forbid playing, you have a committee to form a plan. When preparing to embark on a long campaign that will tell the story of a group across months or years, it's important to get everybody on the same page and set expectations as early as possible. Okay, you should be able to do this in like 5 minutes, but one of the frameworks for discussing content and safety is CATS. Concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. Okay, concept of the campaign. What's the big picture pitch? Big picture pitch. Think of that as these are actors trying to write D&D books. If this campaign was a book series, how would you talk about it to a friend you would know? Okay. Examples. Childhood friends reunite at the funeral of their village elder and uncover a secret that could break the world or save it. A science fantasy romp across the realms with the party as a group of misfits trying to find their origins but end up finding a family in one another. Yeah, those are just examples of your campaign pitch. Aim what you want from and for your campaign. Examples: we're going to play a weekly campaign from level 1 to 10 with strong individual and group character arcs. Or we want to tell a story that explores the relationship between grief and community. Tone. What is the tone of your game? Lighthearted, adventurous, gritty, funny, scary, whimsical, intimate, dramatic, heart-pounding, romantic, goofy, or intense. So you just start crossing out things you don't want to deal with from this list. It's a tone, subject matter. Things like avoiding spiders or a particular name that carries big emotional weight for a player. Avoiding things like bigotry or torture, or that is to let me know. Let me, the DM, know what you don't want me to talk about. And that can be reasonable. I'm going to tell you straight up. I'm running a PG-13 campaign. And with that one phrase, I'm telling you that I'm avoiding certain rather grody things. Okay? I don't have to elaborate. If there was somebody who was particularly afraid of snakes or spiders or whatever, let me know. Just, okay, we'll avoid the Temple of the Snake Queen. Okay? No snakes. Fine. I got something else I can run. Page 205. Note, when discussing social and political issues, okay, first of all, let's not talk politics. That's usually a good way. Politics and religion, and sex. Those are things to just generally avoid. They tend to make a game unpleasant. When discussing social and political issues, it's important to center the desires and needs of marginalized players at the table. For example, if your group is a mix of some cisgender, alloromantic / allosexual and heterosexual players and some LGBTIQIA players, the queer players' preferences should be prioritized. When it comes to... Okay. So, okay. If you haven't done so, this is a good place to pick the safety tools you want to use in your campaign: lines and veils and X cards and script changes. Scripts? Yeah, okay. We're talking about actors, thinking about everything in an acting. 23205 228. Okay, here's something. I kind of find this a little interesting. Character death. This is going to tell us how this game runs, right? In some games, 0 hit point, character's dead. In some games, 0 hit points, the character bleeds out, and when you hit -10 and nobody's come to give you medical attention, you're dead. And there's other methods, but whatever. Character death. We have options. Adjudicating and overseeing the death of a player character may be among the most difficult tasks for a GM. I disagree. You can solve it, but whatever. Here's some specific guidance for each of the death moves. 1. Avoid death and face the consequences. This option is the one to take if a player is 100% certain they are ready to say goodbye to their character and do not want to leave survival to chance. This character always survives when using this move. Okay, you can never lose. We're going to play a game and you can never lose. Although they have a chance of taking a scar, a permanent detriment of some kind, and losing one of their hope slots. So you can only hold so many points of inspiration or whatever. You still get them. But you have to just spend them quicker when you get them. And you can still get just as many. You just have to spend them quicker when you get them. Okay. If the character only has one hope slot remaining when they make this move because they've done it multiple times, there's a chance the player will have to retire the character. That ending may be preferable to the player who would rather see their character give up the adventuring life than die. So your character still can't die. They just, fine, after the 8th time that you've jumped off of a 100-foot cliff, you're just going to go to a nice farm upstate. You didn't die. Using this move, the character stays unconscious until healed, and then they just go away. Number 2 option, risk it all. This is the move that you as the GM have the least say in. Hey, that's the phrase, risk it all. The duality dice, your 2d12s of different colors, which is this game's gimmick. Decide the character's fate, and with very rare exceptions, the roll of the dice is final. Very rare exceptions means that it's not final. Means if the player rolls with hope, in other words, the nice colored die rolls better than the ugly colored die, help them decide how to divide the value of the hope die between hit points and stress to clear. So yeah, if you roll about a 45% chance, then you get up with 1 hit point or so. A couple of hit points. You might remind the player that if they choose to clear only a small number of hit points, they may be forced to make another death move just after 1 more blow. So if you get up with 1 hit point, I'm still going to smack you. You're in the middle of a fight. And if the ugly colored die is higher, the character's just dead, all right? Just stop it. This happens. Roll up a new character. Reshuffle the deck and count yourself 12 more cards, plus make a character sheet, plus figure out what the next character looks like, etc. Blaze of Glory. Okay, this one actually sounds fun. If the player decides that the character will go out in a blaze of glory, work with them to ensure that the one action they take is as meaningful as possible without breaking the integrity of the story. Okay. You hit 0 hit points. What do? Blaze of Glory. So that helps your fellow players because what do? Oh, I'm going to stab the big monster right straight through the chest. And then he collapses on top of me, crushing me to death. Cool. I'm going to go roll up a new character. But everybody else gets to divide up the treasure of the big bad monster. They're happy. Yeah, good for you. You certainly helped us on the way out. Right on. Introducing a new character. That's just DM advice. Okay. There's a fair amount of DM advice if you want to run a Matt Mercer style game. Running a one-shot, page 229, 230. I mean, it's basically the 230. Prologue. Our story takes place within the kingdom of blank. We are currently traveling through blank, best known for blank and blank that surround it. And then there's a list of Mad Libs words. Now you know where you're beginning your story, follow the same process for the adventure. After last night's blank, many here have blank. This morning we found out the events of the previous evening, blank. We know to fix this, we'll need to blank. Okay, yeah, oh boy. To leave for blank, so we might not find what we're looking for. Yada, yada, yada. We need to. Okay. Mad Libs for a plot development. You could do worse. And kind of GM prep, kind of a little bit of the same way. Of course, when to level up your party. Yeah. Locations, themes, world building advice, some lists of monsters, lists of magic items, you know, kind of the standard stuff. All in all, I just would not do Daggerheart. I mean, it has like a couple of decent ideas in it, and it's just not speaking to me. But hey, I'm not saying it's awful. I mean, if that's your thing, like I said, it's a free download if you're willing to give them your email address. Okay, so who knows what's going to go on with that, whether you're going to get spammed with more stuff from Darrington Press or whether you'll never hear from them again. Just know that that's what you're going to have to do. 377 pages of playtest for this. I leave it up to you. DM Kurt, out.